Well, I grew up in Ocala, Florida, and that's in Central Florida, and I had a camera in my hand since I was probably 6, and decided that I was going to go to journalism school and study journalism because I like to write. And so I signed up to go to the community college for a while and in Ocala, and after a little bit I decided to go to photography school over in Daytona and study photography, and I eventually ended up in Orlando and studied art. So, and that kind of led to where I'm at now. But I've had a studio since '96. I started my own studio, photography studio, in '96, and been shooting ever since. When I shoot with a client, I usually sit down with them and find out exactly what they want. I usually, if it's an ad agency, they know what they want, and they usually have a layout, or they have a preconceived concept of what they want to get. If it's a direct client, 9 times out of 10, they kind of have a little bit of an idea what they want, but they're kind of relying on me to come up with the lighting scheme and add my creativity. I enjoy doing those a lot more just because I love to have full control over whatever I'm doing if it's possible. But generally, it's a process where I'm working with the client as I'm shooting, and I'm making sure that they're happy with what they're getting. And now that everything's digital, I can show them the back of the camera when I'm shooting. And kind of, if I tweak a couple lights to where I feel like it looks good, then I can show them what's going on. And if they don't like it, I can change directions and try something different. That's what I loved about editorial work, which I'm not doing as much of these days. You never have anyone really there unless you're shooting a cover shot. And if it's a storyline, you just go and you shoot, and they give you some ideas, and you make sure you cover what they wanted, but then you have free reign to do whatever you want. It's really, really fun to be able to shoot that way, because then you get to kind of push yourself and challenge yourself to come up with something different. And sometimes editorial shoots are very, you don't have much time. They're very time limited, and you come in and you've got a CEO of a company, and they're like, you have 15 minutes. That's tough. That's a hard thing to do. But I think editorial, on the other hand, has also challenged me, because I've learned to set up really fast, and you're constantly thinking when you're shooting. So the digital world has definitely changed the way I shoot and the way I interact with the client. I think it's a little more fun, to work with a client in the digital age than it was before, because it was kind of a mystery to them. Now, and I think I can nail a shoot a lot better now. I think the client is happier because they're watching the shot build as you're setting it up, and other than a Polaroid, we used to shoot Polaroids, but I just think it's different digitally. It's faster. You can challenge yourself. You can do things that you wouldn't do before, because there's not a cost in the actual producing of it, of a single image. You're not wasting film, and you're not wasting Polaroid, and you can take a little bit longer to set something up, because if you don't like it, you can change to something else, and you didn't waste any film finding out. And it's immediate results, so it's kind of nice. I think the biggest thing that makes a photograph great, what makes a photograph stand out, is lighting. And I think in today's digital age, I think we lack that a lot. I think that not everybody, but I think a lot of people don't understand lighting, so they're shooting flat light, bringing it in Photoshop, and zapping it and doing whatever you got to do. I'm kind of stuck in the old school world of photography, where I like to set up lights and really work with it and do as much as I can in camera. Photoshop, for me, is just, it enhances the photograph. It doesn't create the photograph. Whereas, a lot of the younger generation of photographers is bringing it into Photoshop. They do an incredible job, but that's just not how I like to shoot. I don't like to sit behind the computer day in and day out. And it's created I've become the lab, so it's created a whole new world for me anyways, where I do sit in front of the computer a lot more than I am behind the camera. So why add more to that? I like to go places, and I love taking different light sources and incorporating them in a shot, available light. That's my favorite thing to do, is use an available light, or window light that comes spilling in the back of the subject, and create a nice rim lighting. I study music videos and movies a lot, because I love the idea of separating the subject from the background, and really that's done if you really study music videos, and if you really study movies. Everything is backlit. There's always a rim light, almost 90% of the time, and that's what creates that depth, but it also creates emotion, I think, in the photograph. So that's probably my biggest thing, is trying to separate the subject from whatever they're standing in front of, or that's why I don't like to shoot on seamless.